Why are we called Negro? Why are we deaf, dumb and blind? Why is everybody making progress? Yet we seem to be lagging so far behind. Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion. Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we're living, for us there's nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research, and tells us plainly that before the white man gained entry to the east, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous, eating juniper root and eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry.
Greetings, family. Welcome back to another episode of Lancescurv. I wanted to pass along some information as I found it, and I really don't share things that I'm not going to say believe in, but know in. And to me, in the communities across the globe, I was included, the African Black community, we seem to be even more ignorant to certain things, more so than ever before. I can't give you the exact numbers, but I do know that when it comes to quality healthcare, we're on the bottom of the totem pole, especially in America. I don't know what it is in the UK. I don't know what it is in the motherland, although I know that in the motherland, we do tend to eat fresh food, but many of us are eating bad food. The bottom line is that we need to tighten up on what we're doing with our health. And for the most part, I say that many of us in the Black community, as men, we do not check up on our health. We keep going until something's wrong. That's the mentality that we have as far as our health is concerned. But yet and still, many of us will have a vehicle and we'll be right there on time to get the tune-up. We'll be right there on time to rotate the tires. Some of us don't even do that. But I'm willing to bet that there are a whole lot of people out here who look like me, who neglect their health. You should be looking for things wrong. I'm not saying to be paranoid, but in this day and age, you don't sit around when you have the time. We make sure to take care of our vehicles, but we don't make sure to take care of our bodies. We have one body. We have one liver, 2 kidneys, 2 lungs, 1 heart. We can get transplants. We can take pills for things. And that's the problem with us, because we figure that there's a pill for everything. Toxic concoctions that were not made to be put in the body. We depend on that. The first thing we do when we feel there's something wrong is we go to the pharmacy, right? And we look for something. Do you have something for this? And do you have something for that? And you ask the person who is there working, who may have a limited background with anything as far as the medical field. You do have some people who work in a pharmacy who may be going to school for this stuff, but they're not a completely trained professional to know. What I found interesting out here in the motherland is that there are pharmacies all over the place. I'm like, why is there a pharmacy? I mean, yeah, you have your churches too, which is part of another sickness, but you have the pharmacies all over the place. And for the most part, with most of the pharmacies that I've run across here in Ghana, the staff appears to be more knowledgeable than the staff in America who work in pharmacies. It seems as though you don't have to have any medical background when you work in a Dwayne Reed or Walgreens or CVS. Those are some of the pharmacies in America and so many others. It's just a job. And so I guess you're taught that when someone asks for something, you can point to this or point to that. You don't have to be of a certain level of knowledge to be able to do that. Now, what I find here is that many of the people who are working in pharmacies here, they're going to school for something in the medical field. They may not be going to be a doctor. Now, I found a few people who have no training at all, but I would say the majority, that's over 50%. I will not say all because that's 100%, but somewhere in the middle, the people who are there are knowledgeable also in the holistic way of doing things. They look at you and they say, hey, no, you don't have to buy this. You can just go ahead and get this. But if you want this particular product, this is the best thing for you because it doesn't have any harmful toxic chemicals in it. Another thing, which is somewhat off topic, but it's something that I think that we need to understand, is that there's so many laws with the Food and Drug Administration in America that we think that, well, we're in America, we have the best of everything. And many people in other countries feel that also, even though it may not be true. They see the cars and they see the structures in the homes and how many people are driving brand new luxury cars. So it must be good over there. Oh, they're living in nice homes. It must be good over there. They have the latest in technology. It must be good over there. But the bottom line is that what looks like gold and all that glitters may not be gold. So what I mean to say is that we have a very unhealthy nation in America, okay? And I speak on America because it's what I know. I'm not picking on any one country because I know the UK is in a similar position, but I don't know the UK. And many people who listen to this program are in America and or hoping to go there because they think it's the land of milk and honey, and it's not. I love America, not the government, not the hierarchy, but where I grew up and the people that I know that I'm connected to and will be forever more connected to. So this is why I speak out of a concern, not because I know everything, but if something is passed to me, I'm going to share it. And so that's why I'm sharing this. And this is why I think it's important that we talk about this stuff more often. You know, we have other people who are in the Black community. I'm not throwing off on anybody, but their focus may be on focusing on other people. There has to come a time where we stop focusing on other people so much and focus on ourselves, because what we're doing to ourselves is far worse than what any other person can do to us or any other race can do to us. We know and understand the history right now. We know and understand how history has gone and how many times, hundreds of years, and in certain places, and really worldwide. So since we know we have no friends, why are we talking about the other people who don't care if we don't exist anymore? We need to be focusing on ourselves. Aside from hating each other and holding each other down, which not everybody does that, but it's an epidemic. It's our pandemic. Why are we doing this to ourselves? And then personally, not looking after ourselves. We get up in the morning time and we hit that Facebook timeline. We hit YouTube to see what's going on, not to educate ourselves, but to find out the dirt. Yet and still, we don't have that same motivation and that same enthusiasm to go and get a checkup. Now, I will also say that with Western medicine is not too much better, right? Because it's a business. It's not about healing you. It's about milking you. So if you have good health insurance coverage in America, see, I want to let you know, because there are a lot of people that I talk to out here in the motherland that thinks everything over there is so perfect. You better have health insurance when you go to the doctor, because if you have 20 people that are in that emergency room and 19 of them have health insurance and you don't, well, you're going to have to wait for 19 people to get serviced. It's a business. And now that we know it's a business, we have to understand that keeping you sick is a business. You see, I can talk about a whole lot of things. I have a little bit of conversation in different areas. And I decided to myself, I said, let me not just talk about, I love my mother, I love my father, and the ancestors I don't know, I love them. But we talk this hocus pocus stuff without being practical to share things that we can help each other to live a better life. Under siege, we are. Yes, we are. But in the trenches, I say, let's focus on ourselves and share information so that we can live a healthy, long, and strong life. And this is why I ask, are we eating real food anymore? You see, we hear the term GMO. We hear, it's okay. We grab the things in the supermarket and we don't really question the origin of it. The fruits now, they look so full and they look so perfect now. They look like illustrations and drawings now, meaning that there's no flaws in them no more. If we see a fruit that looks perfect and we see one with a bruise on it, we're going to reach for the one that appears to be perfect. And so with genetically modified foods, they do things to it on a genetic level. But why? What was wrong with the fruits before? What was wrong with the food before? I'll just say this one off the top of my head before I share this information, is that they might genetically modify some type of fruit, and I'm picking on fruit and there's vegetables and everything else, because it will give it a longer shelf life. Like I said, in the medical field, it's about business. They don't care about you. They have that doctor's oath that they take. They don't give a damn about you. It's all about keeping you sick and making money off of you. The first thing they do, a meme was shared with me the other day, and it was a gentleman who was acting in both parts. And it was a man who was in a doctor's office, and the doctor showed up and was quite rude. Okay, what are your symptoms? And he said, well, I have a pain here and a pain there. Okay, here it is. Take this pill and come back in 3 weeks and see if it worked. What kind of hit or miss type situation is that? And this points to society as a whole, because it used to be where you would go into a bank and they would know your name. Now you don't even know who it is working at the bank. It used to be when you called a bank, you got a human being talking to you. Now you have to hit prompts because it's an automated, robotic sounding voice on the other end. What I'm saying is that this points to things across all of society. We are being distanced from each other. I'm kind of rambling now before I get back on point. Social distancing. We know that whole situation. I can't say what it is here because they're going to try to strike me down. Social distance. Reverse that. Distance social. They want us disconnected. They want us disconnected from each other, and they want us disconnected from nature. And nature, in my eyes, is the most evident manifestation of a supreme creator, of a God, if you want to say that, right? Too many of us are trying to be gods beside God. So I hate to use that word, but I'm going to say it, right? So nature is under attack. Nature, our preferences, how we're born, who we are, our identity. I am a man. One day for me to say that on social media or in public is coming soon. If I say I am a man, somebody's going to get insulted. If a person says I am a woman, somebody's going to get insulted, because there's someone out there that doesn't like the fact that you are natural and you're a representative of nature. So when we eat natural foods grown out of the ground, not touched, then something or someone out there has a problem with that. You got to understand, as part of a bigger picture, all things natural are under attack. We're living in a GMO world. You got to understand the overall picture to understand this part of it. I was going to read a few things off, but let me play this video. Let me see if this is worth reading. Okay, let me just read this one paragraph and we'll go on into the video I wanted to share with you. And let me see what I can call this here. Okay. A significant percentage of processed foods purchased today contain some genetically engineered GE for short, food products. As a result, each day, tens of millions of American infants, children, and adults eat genetically engineered foods without their knowledge. Consumers have no way of knowing what foods are genetically engineered because the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, does not require labeling of these products. What's worse, the agency also does not require any pre-market safety testing of GE foods. The agency's failure to require testing or labeling of GE foods has made millions of consumers into guinea pigs, unknowingly testing the safety of dozens of gene-altered food products. I think that's important to hear. So I'm going to read on a little bit more because many people don't know this stuff. The FDA, in its response to a lawsuit filed by the Center for Food Safety in 1998, admitted in court that it had made no positive scientific findings whatsoever about the safety of genetically engineered foods. In other words, the FDA has given the biotech industry carte blanche to produce and market any number of genetically engineered foods without mandatory agency oversight or safety testing and without scientific showing that these foods are safe to consume. So it's a free fall. They don't care. They're doing this to the food and they don't have to tell you. They don't have to tell you anymore. Oh, I can't wait for you to see this video. I just want to lay the groundwork for this. 6 potential human health concerns. Genetically engineered foods are different from other foods. Genetic engineering allows, for the first time, foreign genes, bacterial and viral vectors, viral promoters, and antibiotic marker systems to be engineered into food. These genetic cassettes are new to the human diet and should be subject to extensive safety testing. Instead, in 1992, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration ruled, without any scientific basis, that genetically engineered foods present no different risks than traditional foods. FDA's own scientists ridiculed this unscientific agency view of genetic engineering. What happened to the scientific elements in the document, one asked. FDA scientists consistently stated that there is a profound difference between the types of unexpected effects from traditional breeding and genetic engineering. This difference should be and is not addressed. What are the new unexpected effects and health risks posed by genetic engineering? Toxicity. Let me see if I'm going to read this out because this goes deep and it's taken up time, and I know your time is precious. I'm going to drop this link in the description area on the site, Lancescurv.com, on YouTube, and all the other social media platforms that we're broadcasting on, which is about maybe 8 of them that we're on right now. But I'll tell you the categories and we can read this later. Toxicity is 1. Allergic reactions is number 2. 3 is antibiotic resistance. 4 is immunosuppression. 5 is cancer. 6 is loss of nutrition. That's one I'm big on. You take an apple that's genetically modified and a naturally grown apple, and you can't tell me that that genetically modified apple is going to give you all of the nutrition that you need with these other elements inside of it. And so if you're not getting everything out of it, what are you getting out of it? So I'm going to put that up. As a matter of fact, I'll eventually put it into the chat room too. So let me go over and play this video. Let me just get myself arranged here. And I just went on another footnote. Those who looked for Dr. Ade's packet, I'm going to send those out today. I had a whole flood of them. I'm going to actually take those images and put it on a particular page or post on Lancescurv.com. So it's just a matter of a click away instead of going through emails and stuff, but I will send that to you. I might do that first and send it to you in that form. So let me remove this banner. Okay. And okay, here we go. I'm going to mute myself. This is only 6 or 7 minutes long, but I want you to listen to this. This is very, very important. Here we go.
This is a mango, and it look fake. It feel fake. Like, I'm beyond pissed. And this is like, look at this. This is GMO. I'm gonna give it a big no. Like,
exactly. And this is why I say none of you are vegetarians, none of you are vegans, none of you are eating real food. And I'm going to show it to you here. Now look, this is an organic pear, but on the pear you see the label, right? You see these labels they put on it. It says trust. Well, can we really trust it? Now, if you look at the number there, if you can see it on the live, can you see it? All right. If you look at the number there, it's designated by a 9, an 8, or a 4. If it's a 4, it's pesticides, right? So it's conventionally raised, which means it's on a regular farm. There's no real regulation. They can do whatever they need to do to grow that fruit or vegetable for you. If it's an 8 designated in front of that, on that number on the sticker, it means it's genetically modified, okay? Which means that it's been altered in some way, shape, or form, either at the genetic level or through the use of pesticides and chemicals to cause an alteration later on down the line once you consume it. GMO is going out the window, so you will no longer see GMO on your foods anymore. The new term you need to look for is bioengineered. So when you go to your store today or tomorrow, whenever you go back to the store, look at all the food products, look at the back, and you're going to see bioengineered. You won't see GMO anymore. It's another trick to trick you out of your health. Then the next designation is organic. And for a long time, we thought organic was safe. Organic is no longer safe. This pear here is designated as organic because it has a 9 on the sticker. So this is the designation. I'm going to tell you why organic is no longer safe and why you and I are truckitarians. We're no longer eating real food. In 1996, a chemical was produced called MCP. MCP, and it stands for methylcyclopropene. Write this down. Methylcyclopropene. And methylcyclopropene is a petrochemical. It's a petrochemical that is used to preserve the shelf life of your fruits and your vegetables. In 1996 was when it was founded and patented. But in 2002, the Environmental Protection Agency decided, and the FDA, to put this into our food supply. So this MCP, under a technology called Smart Fresh, is used to preserve the shelf life of your fruits and vegetables as long as 2 to 3 years. Hear me, 2 to 3 years, which means the fruits and the vegetables that you are consuming can be as old as 3 years. Do you understand? And you notice if you pay attention to the fruits that you've been consuming, they just don't seem to decompose. What's the problem with MCP under this technology called Smart Fresh? The problem is when you infuse fruits and vegetables and our food supply with blockers that block microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, and other organisms, you cause a serious problem in the human body. Because when you consume these fruits and vegetables that have been chemicalized with these blockers, they also block the natural microorganisms that are in your colon, which means they block your probiotics, which are very important for your immune system. They block other organisms within your colon that help you digest your food and therefore set you up on the path for disease. These are very, very dangerous because it triggers an immune response when you consume it. The problem is that we haven't been told that they were using this MCP into our food supply. If you are a vegetarian or vegan or a carnivore, please know that the organic foods that you have been eating for the last 20 years are not real foods. They are synthetics. And that is why I always harp on this channel to grow your own food. I'm not saying that to be trendy. I'm really saying that because you can really go nowhere else to get your food anymore but your own backyard, minus the chemtrails and the other crap that they're spraying, but at least you have a chance. With these foods, it is destroying your complete endocrine system. It destroys your complete sensory system, and it shuts down your natural gut microbiome and your probiotics. This is a serious problem that has to be dealt with. So what's the reason for all this? I told you, all treasures are buried. We have to dig for them. Why are they using this MCP on our food supply? Why are they trying to down-regulate our probiotics in our gut. Because when you downregulate probiotics in the gut, you affect something very, very important. You disrupt the pineal gland. You disrupt the pineal gland. When you disrupt the pineal gland, now you're causing serious damage because you're not only affecting the organism's ability to heal, but you're affecting the organism's ability to produce melatonin. And melatonin is a critical byproduct, a critical factor for overall health and immunity. This is what they're trying to get at. Calcify the pineal gland, destroy the entire system and your sensory perception. The pineal gland functions as your sensory perception. If your sensory perception is off, you won't be able to see or anticipate other attacks against the human body. Let's get into it.
Okay, that was short and that was sweet, and I want you all to play that over again and again and again. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, before I move on with it, that pretty much said it all. I'm just going to kind of rant a little bit on what I just heard. And it's very important that I'm playing with a few buttons here to get it straight, what I'm doing here. If not, we're going to just go right ahead and put the original banner up. You know, I got all kind of tricks up my sleeve here. But really and truly, it's really bad, and we are not aware of what's happening with our food. I mean, this has been going on from the 90s, y'all. What, 92? Before that too, and there's no resistance. There's no resistance for anyone to stand up for us. So this stuff just gets passed on through, and we're not aware of it. See, they can do what they want. Let's put it this way. Let's just get down to nitty gritty and let's just talk. They can do what they want, but we have the final choice, don't we? We don't have to buy these things. But how are we going to know not to buy them unless we're aware of what it's doing to us? See, it all comes down to attacking nature, no matter what. They're giving us reasons to wear a mask. You remember that, right? I'm not going to say. Taking jabs, and we're not boxers. And I want to say, Sister Reese, I didn't get back to you about the question, but basically I was speaking about boxers to insinuate about a jab, right? And you know what the jab is in real life. But I'll answer you back more in detail about that. God, what can I say? Many people that I've known always thought that I was a quack, that I was a nutcase, that I was mentally unstable when I was speaking about this stuff many decades ago. Yes, I'm not going to backtrack and try to act like I wasn't speaking about this. Anybody who knows me, I was one who caught on to what was going on and alerted people that I know. And a lot of them were like, okay, Lance, we'll check this out. But they kind of got written off. But then you see, you got to understand that the effects of eating this stuff, it looks good, but it's not good. And how much of the food that you spent your hard-earned money on is fake. Okay, so say you go to a jewelry store, right? You say, hey, I want to get a nice piece of jewelry. I got an issue with that first syllable in that word, but I'm just saying. You want to get jewelry. And they bring out some 10 carat. You want something 18 carats, right? And they bring out something 10 carat mixed as an alloy with other metals. And because it looks pretty at the moment, you go and buy it. Although the trained eye knows that is not 18 karat gold. And so you wear it a couple times and you notice it around your neck, if it's a necklace, or around your wrist, that it's turning green. This thing is not what it said that it is to be. So you go back, you're like, wait a second, you sold me something that's 10 carats and I was expecting 18. You got to take this back. You might get some resistance, but with a proper receipt, I don't see how they'd have a problem with it, or unless in the fine print, they said no returns. So what do? We're eating this food. That's like the gold chain that's fake. And after a while, not after wearing it 2 or 3 times, but many years after consuming this, see, the chain you can bring back. The greenish tinge on you indicated that it's not real. But guess what? I'm not saying that genetically modified food is causing these things, but with the introduction of it into our refrigerator and into our kitchen, see, the green turning is not just something on your wrist or your neck. It's cancer. It's malnutrition. It's the lack of certain key nutrients that you need in your diet that you would always get in abundance when you had a little bit of natural food. I'm out here in the motherland. Whenever I go far out into the country, away from the cities, because the cities here, and I can only speak on Accra and Kumasi, places in Ghana. Soon I will be in the other countries, in the other cities, and have camera will travel, and I'll bring it all with you after I'm settled down. That is my job and that is my goal. But I talk with a lot of people here, now that I'm here, in other countries. I've done it before, long before I even came here. And I've forged many friendships and many associates. And they tell me the same thing is going on there in their country. See, it's one Africa, one big continent, but we tend to think that you say Africa, you see something on the news that's happening terrible in a country that's unstable, you think it's happening here. It's different countries. But the common denominator is that we're being attacked with these foods that down the line open us up to be sick. Guaranteed to be sick. Guaranteed. Because, you know, we associate, let's just make it simple. We associate an orange with vitamin C. The orange has so many other nutrients in it other than vitamin C, but that's the marketing ploy. Just like the marketing ploy with dairy products and milk. You need calcium, you get milk. You don't even absorb the calcium in the milk. You want calcium? You get green leafy vegetables. But because of making money, they have to push something with cow's milk that you shouldn't be drinking anyway, right? They're not going to push green leafy vegetables because they don't have a monopoly on that market of something that you can grow in your own backyard. See, what we got to get to the point of we only eat what we produce. We can't trust anyone out there to produce anything for us. We can't. It's going to spell death. And just like that chain that was fake, it showed a little greenish tinge around your wrist, around your neck, and you could bring it back and that's it. You can't bring your body back to a person who produced or a company who produced genetically modified food and say, hey, you need to hook me up because I got a big malignant tumor in my belly, in my breast, in my testicles, and you need to straighten it out for me. What do you think they're going to do? They made their money. They made you sick. And they're working. This is my opinion now. I'm saying this is my opinion. They're working in tandem with the medical industry. You see, we tend to see the place like a hospital. We go in there and it's clean and everybody's smiling and we got this and there's a professional, there's a doctor, and we have to trust them. No, you have to trust yourself. Because if they were really trustworthy in the medical field, no matter where they stand in the hierarchy of the medical field, they will tell you to stay away from genetically modified foods. But they don't tell you that because it's the genetically modified foods that's helping to drive sick people into the hospitals. How about that? They're not your friends. You got health insurance coverage and you don't have to pay nothing but a small copay. That's okay. I call it the pre-corpse phase. When you start that cycle of going back and forth, you already kill the nutrition that you're supposed to get. They shortchanged you because of that beautiful looking fruit. You didn't want to go to the market or the farmer's market where they had the fruit that had the flies flying around it. See, we don't like flies too much. We at the barbecue and flies are trying to land on our food. Like, get these flies out of here. But in telling what's real and not real, the flies are your friend. See, we know flies hang around dog dung. We understand that. That's disgusting, I know. But let's look at it deeper. There is something in the dung more so than the GMO foods that you eat. I'm not saying to have a dung sandwich, but that dung plays a role. In nature, there is no waste. There is no waste. So that even when you go and use the restroom, you really shouldn't be going in the toilet. Now, if you have a high-rise apartment, I'm not going to say put it in a bucket, but if you have a garden, the nitrogen in the waste, we shouldn't call it waste. You put it at the base of the plant. And there's so much nutrients in it to help the plant grow. So am I saying that you're eating sugar honey iced tea? No, it's a way of filtering through. Plants are your best friends. If you have toxic water that drops down on the base of the plant and fruit comes out of it, the whole plant filters it out. So even nature is self-correcting without you even noticing it. But this artificial system that we trust in so much is killing us while we give them money and they give us a smile. And it's designed to make us fall down into this bottomless pit, this bottomless abyss of trusting in them. It doesn't cure you, these pills they give you. It only kills the symptoms while you continue to get sicker and sicker and sicker. And like I was beginning to say, when I leave out of the city of Accra, which I'm out of the city now, but I'm not as deep as I could go if I drove up 2, 3, 4, 5 hours into the country. And when we say country here, it ain't like country in America. Because in America, there's always some sign that man is here. There are places I've gone to out here where you can't even get a cell phone signal. And really and truly, when you think about it, that's a good thing. So when we say we want to escape for a 2-week vacation after we ask and beg our boss in the Matrix, we don't understand it's not really a vacation. It's limited. I just finished watching a bodybuilding program because you know I'm into boxing and into bodybuilding. And I'm not really into, I don't do it no more since 85 in April, but I will be naturally. But I like to keep up with the sport aspect, even though 99.9% of those guys are on steroids. I like to hear the kind of talk, you know what I mean? But I do not, and I would not tell anyone to have their child get into that sport unless they understand they cannot use substances. That's so fake. I love my boxing. I follow the boxing. Now, I know sports can be tainted and a distraction, but I've been following this thing for so long, and not just that, but the business aspects is what I really like. Not just the fact that 2 guys punching at each other, right? So these are the things that I'm into. So in listening to this bodybuilding podcast, they just don't talk about bodybuilding. They talk about other things also. And it was funny how this one particular guy was saying how when he goes on vacation, because he runs his own business, supplement companies and t-shirt companies and clothing and stuff, he doesn't really like to go for a long time. 3 weeks would kill him if he had to get away from running his business. Now, if he could take his laptop and whatever, that's cool. But what I'm saying, you see how these people are trapped. Many of us are trapped. When we say we want a vacation, we're not really getting away from much. All of the signals and all of the frequencies we're being microwaved, right? We're also putting stuff in that's not feeding us. So imagine every time you go to get a meal and you sit down and say, okay, this is what I want. This is the amount that I want. And I go and take 85% of that food off your plate and say, this is what you're going to eat. This is what's happening when you're eating GMO foods, because you're not getting the full nutrition. So speaking about the country out here in Ghana, you go far out, you don't see obesity. You go far out, you hardly really ever see body fat on a person. You go far out, you see men and women who are fit. And you look and you say, wait a second, is this dude lifting weights? Is he on a special diet? Yes, he is. And yes, she is. They're getting the full nutrition from their food. And they understand, without even knowing what's going on in the world, most of them, that you eat till you're full, and usually a little bit before you're full, you don't want to eat no more. Why? Because your nutritional needs are being met. But when we eat all this other stuff that has no nutrition in it, now we're not even talking about junk food. You eat junk food, that's worse, and then you eat GMO food thinking this is a good meal, you're starving yourself. But check this out, and this is something you need to remember. You're overfed, and I'm not saying this on anybody here personally. I'm only speaking what I know, and I'm passing it along with the information that you saw in the video. Imagine this. We are overfed and we're undernourished. Just think about that. Overfed and undernourished. We really should be overnourished and underfed. But if you're overnourished, you're not underfed, right? The food is so watered down of nutrition. Let's look at it from this aspect. The nutrition potency is nothing anymore. Like the American dollar, everything is just falling down. And like I always say with the American dollar, we have to work so much more to have the same effect. You have to work 2 jobs to have the same effect. The same as with our food. That's why we hit a certain age now and we feel so tired. We feel so worn out. And you look at a sister like Dr. Ade at 85 years old, that when her brain starts moving and she starts talking, all of the information comes out and she's vibrant, she's glowing, she has energy, she's doing something right. Where are our vibrant elders that we used to have? The people who may look a little bit aged, but their movements don't tell you that. We have people now, by the time they hit 25 years old, even if that old, and they're moving like somebody who's approaching 100 years old. And most of the people I know or know of through YouTube who are at those ages, they don't move like the youngsters because they got away from a lifetime of eating genetically modified foods and foods who have a reduced nutritional content to it, less nutritional potency. So in actuality, when you go to these supermarkets, you're throwing your money away. You got to look at it that way. Am I getting the full value of this apple? Am I getting the full value of this banana? And you saw on the video how they didn't even have to call it genetically modified food anymore. They put numbers on the bad boy. Why should you have a label on fruits anyway? Why? An apple should be an apple, right? Why a label? Original natural apples, after a while, you know, they will get rotten. They're sitting out, but they last a long time. But of course, you hang around, you got an apple, that apple's been sitting there for 2 years. You know what I mean? But this stuff here, this stuff is like McDonald's French fries or a Big Mac or those foods that coming out the gate, they're jacked up for you. You get McDonald's French fries and you sit them out in the air. They just get hard. They're not getting stale. Well, they put Viagra in it, it stays hard. Joke, everybody, joke. But all I'm saying is that you're being ripped off. We're not only being ripped off with the potency of our dollar, We're getting ripped off with what we get with that reduced dollar. Everything is reduced. You have a man like Bill Gates who wants to block the sun. Don't our plants need the sun? So when you pull back and look at this world as it is, you understand that there's an effort to kill off all things connected to nature, all things free and natural, because if they can do that, the population will die off. And there's certain targeted populations on this earth, and you know exactly what it is. I don't have to preach to the choir. They want us as African Black people all over the world, melanated people, whether you call yourself African or not. We know that fight. We know that separatist fight. They're agents to come out here and tell us what we're not, and we're fighting over identity. But they don't care about us. They want us all gone. So you all fight while I bring you the inferior food stuff into your markets. You all fight while you're working double shifts and side gigs to get the money so you can have something that you can brag about in your driveway that you probably hardly ever drive. How many people have passed away too young while there was a luxury car sitting in their driveway, and as they're wheeled away in their ambulance, they're looking at that car saying, I can't wait to get well so I can come back and drive my car and never come back from the hospital. I don't have a car right now. I need one, but I gave that up to focus on my goals here, and another year or two, I'll get one. Transportation is cheap out here. We have to really prioritize what's important now at this phase. We say it every day, or at least several times a week, how the days are moving faster, and they are. I heard, and this is something I can bite into, that the days are not 24 hours anymore. The days in actuality are 16 hours. So they're even cutting back on a spiritual and cosmic level with that. Who is manipulating this? If you really feel, be a feeler, be a person who uses their intuition. But like the brother said, the foods we're eating is killing our pineal gland. So our connection to each other, our connection to nature is being disrupted. And this is why so many of us are acting a fool out here. Bad enough, we got the drugs. Bad enough, we got the alcohol. Bad enough, we have the chemicals that are in these foods that are making us crazy. And then on a psychological level, we're shown these images. It ain't gonna change you and me, but our children are being indoctrinated into this weird identity thing. Mommy, you know, I'm a girl, but I feel like a boy. Daddy, I know I'm a boy going into being a young man, but I feel like a girl. Where the hell is all of this coming from? And the attack on nature is not just physical. It's spiritual. It's the things you can't see. And you run your ass to church even more and don't realize you ain't getting nothing spiritual from that place. Crossing your forehead and your chest and read. I'm not saying I'm not against your Bible. There's a lot of good truths in there and things to think about. But we need to throw down everything and use our intuition now. Get real knowledge, real facts on what's going on in the world around us and strategize a plan on how to survive, and not only to survive, but to live a good and healthy life. This is why I'm where I am now. And you're always going to have those intruders who try to take away your peace of mind and your plan for balanced living. But at least from this angle, this positioning on the earth that I've taken myself to, I can strategize a lot better, because there ain't nobody coming in that yard to take the things I'm growing. I've been eating papaya every single day, and the more I eat, the more they just pop off the tree. The mango trees aren't ready yet. It'll take a little time for them to get big and kind of give us the fruit. But when they do, one mango tree can feed 5 families every day. So this is the vision, because I saw this thing coming, and I'm tired of trying to convince those who are around me, like, listen, man, you don't have to move anywhere else, but do something in your yard. And then also get a greenhouse. because they're going to start spraying stuff over you. They already started in America, and the leaves are looking so eaten up. But you don't understand. You don't see what's happening. And then your fruit trees don't bear as well. You have a bad year on your return. This is your food. You have to cultivate it and take care of it every day. Keep around the roots clear and make sure it's, look for things. Don't just plant a seed and just let it sit out there. Because those who are our enemies on a human level, they don't just put out something negative and that's it. They are working feverishly to convince us, yes, these supermarkets, Walmart, Target, all of these people, it's big business for them. So they have to announce their sales to get you to come in there and buy this stuff. So you sitting at home minding your business and your mind is being bombarded with advertisements. When you really look at it and you're sitting by the red light and there's an 18-wheeler next to you with a big wrap around it, meaning all of the images that are on the side, because that's a great way to advertise. An 18-wheeler going up and down, especially if you own it, you need to get with some of these companies and make them pay you to advertise on the side of your 18-wheeler because you're going up and down the highways, back and forth, all through the streets. That's a great source of advertising. I had a gentleman offer to me to offer Lancescurv.com that. We lost contact, but if you're out here, brother, I'm still interested and I will be advertising in America. But you have a child who's sitting there and on the side of the truck, they're delivering stuff for Frito-Lay. That's a junk food company. Potato chips and cheese doodles and all types of corn chips and different things. And do you think those things are pure? Well, it must be good because it got corn in there. Cheese ain't bad for you. Cheese, you can get your calcium because cheese is made from milk. We talk so stupid. We rationalize stupidity. And we go in for it, hook, line, and sinker. What else is in there? Brothers, you see a beautiful woman at the club. Perfect body, perfect face, just speaks so well and intelligent. And she's really a Trojan horse to deliver HIV to you. I'm not saying this about all our sisters or all women because men are just as guilty. Men are out here slinging dick like it's crazy. When you have a pregnancy that was not planned, that means you put yourself at risk for AIDS or any other STDs. We got to be more careful with our bodies because our bodies are taking a beating from our ignorance. Not even just food, but we're taking a beating because look, I'm not saying anybody here, but the word stupid is in the dictionary. I don't want to be stupid. Educate me. And I have to research and double check what you're telling me. That's what we have to do. But it's so easy. Well, my doctor said if I stay on this medication for 6 months, I'll be okay. I won't feel no pain no more. But what about the source of the pain? Why do you feel pain? Don't worry about taking away the pain. The pain is your body screaming out, hey, we need help here. Come on, y'all. You all know the brother or sister who drives continuously with the check engine light on in the car. Boop, 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 boop. Well, I'm gonna get the mechanic to take away that beep. I don't care if it keep flashing. That's the car saying something. And usually it's something minor. And when you ignore it, guess what? Something more major comes because you didn't take care of the little thing. See? But we just want to go on with life and not have to be responsible for anything and want to cry ultimately when something happens bad. And mind you, we should be doing all we can to keep ourselves healthy and pure. Why not sometimes when you don't feel to eat? Why don't you give in to that? You might be home and relaxed and you don't feel like eating breakfast, then don't eat it. Just because you're used to eating the breakfast, that don't mean you have to shove it down your throat. Listen to your body. See, your body talks to you. See, the only way most of us listen to our body is when it's time to go to the bathroom. You don't sit there up in the office in your cubicle, or if you're a bus driver driving the bus, or you're working somewhere in retail and say, oh yeah, that's my body telling me I have to go to the bathroom. I'm going to ignore it. See, you know that if you ignore it, you got a hot mess coming down, dripping down the side of your leg. But with our bodies, when the bodies talk to us, we ignore it. And when we get that diagnosis that we don't want to hear, and we're in shock, and you want to cry now. Don't cry now. Your body was telling you, like that check engine light in your vehicle that you ignored. Now you're somewhere in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere. Can't go nowhere because you should have listened. Now you're stuck inside your vehicle and you got to wait for daybreak to come, because you know there's all kind of bears and crocodiles that you don't know what's up, depending on where you live. So take heed to these things. It's not too late. But we have already, for the most part, been pre-embalmed. You're not looking to transition right now. You got a couple things to do. You have children to take care of. You got business to take care of. But those things, aside from your children and your family and taking care of yourself, it's not more important. How many people who may find out that they're on their way out of here because of a disease would trade in something of great value to stay here? So this is why for me now, I don't care too much about the superficial things. I like the quiet. Remember, I was born and raised in New York City, just came here 3 years ago from America, took time to deal with a little man that's here to settle down. And now that I'm here, I just want the simple stuff. In a little while, I'm going to eat some papaya and eat some things out of the yard. And we still buy things, but we make sure that pretty much it's on the up and up as far as not being something that's tainted. And every now and then we may have something of a snack that may have a little something that we know of, nothing chemical, you know. Say, okay, we shouldn't be eating too much of this, but let's snack on this right now. I'm not saying not to be human, but it's really out of control now. And there are things that you can make in your own kitchen if you just take the time to even look on YouTube. We have YouTube and we're looking at more celebrity gossip than recipes that we can use to make something to emulate something that we like, right? Growing up, I couldn't help it. I love cheese, but I got to stay away from that stuff. When it comes to finding a recipe for plant-based cheese, I'm good. But you have to really turn your mind away from the addictions that we have and how they work on our mind. And all the commercials before you go to sleep, if you're watching TV, and please don't fall asleep in front of the TV. Lord have mercy. That's like an innocent woman going to the club and lifting up her skirt and opening up her legs and just sitting in the corner and just let people, why she's sitting like that? Let me go, lady, you know your legs are open? It's just a matter of time before she got babies up in there. Sorry to be so lewd, but I have to talk this way. Sometimes I have to shock people. He didn't have to use no example like that. This is about saving lives, but we're killing ourselves because we're going along with the program of what's out there for us. Again, I'm going to say it again every now and then. I'm going to say it again every show. I don't care if I'm talking about race cars. I'm going to bring it right back. You do know that there's a concerted effort on a large scale level to kill off nature and our connection to nature. Yes, the drugs that they say are recreational drugs. Recreational drugs? When I finished doing my work for the day, which is never finished because I still got last night's work to do, but I fell asleep. I fell asleep early. I followed the dictates of my body because I know the atmosphere that I'm living in. So it's such a high altitude with such fresh air. I don't know, maybe I'm trying to make up for some fatigue that was there a few years ago. You know how I always say it. Sometimes you lay down for 15 minutes, you say, oh, I'm gonna take a break. I've been working in this house. You know, you have a day off and you're doing housework. Let me lay down for 45 minutes. You look around, 6 hours went by. Your body is getting repaid for the fatigue that you put it through Maybe years ago when you worked so much overtime for a couple of weeks or a couple of years. Your body doesn't forget anything. Don't think because you feel all right, everything is all right. It's not all right. And I'm not here to say it's not all right. It may be all right. But aside from the things that we have control over, right? Look at the environmental things that we don't have control over. From these mad scientists that are using us like guinea pigs on an environmental level, with the water we drink, with the air we breathe, the tainted soil. You have chemical plants that have closed down, but there's so much chemicals in that soil, and now they create a subdivision for you to buy a home in. And someone was paid now to not say, hey, this soil needs to be taken care of. This is what has been happening, I'll say for a fact, in Orlando, Florida, in the Paramore area, which is being gentrified, right? And now they're selling homes and luxury condos and all of these things, but they didn't test the soil. So the soil is tainted. So there's a battle from activists to bring this to the surface, but the builders don't care. We don't care if that soil is tainted. And it's not really us buying those properties anyway, but these people don't care, give a damn about anybody. So you who are not black and not African, don't think you're getting away. Oh yeah, that's a Negro problem. We ain't got to worry about that. I don't care if you worry about it or not. But anything that we talk about, y'all need to be concerned about. Unless you're part of what they call the elite. The elite, there ain't nothing in my book. You turn your nose up and there's things happening to you that's happening to us. And you feel superior because you have a few little Starbucks in your neighborhood and you don't get pulled over and profiled, and you breathing the same air, ain't you? Eating the same junk food, ain't you? Your biological makeup is so weak. You're the first ones out of here. With all that we've been through as Black Africans, we are so strong. But we can still be snuffed out because of our own ignorance. And that's what's doing us in. Family, I have a lot to do today. I will be back later on. I said yesterday I'll be back, but I ran out of time and I fell asleep. Oh, you remember that dreaded trailer? Trader, Mrs. Scurv vegan chocolate cake. I had some the other day. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here. I was kind of on a rant, so if I was to go down every single name here, you know, I want to keep it what it is. What I have to do today, I have to transfer some audio files over to my site, over to the other podcasting platforms. I have to do some stuff in the backyard. I want to do some video in the backyard. I want to start doing my live shows off of the balcony where you can see the mountains and everything behind me. I got to set up for that. And I have an electrician coming over at some point today to take care of some things. And I got to eat and I might take my nap. I've been doing the nap thing too, not because I'm 60 years old, but give myself a boost to pay back all of the fatigue that I put my body through and working those hellish hours and strange hours in America. So on that note, I just want to say to you that I love you all. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate all donations that come in. Everything is down in the description area below. And for those ZELLE donations that have come in, and for those who haven't received the packet yet, I'm going to be sending those emails out right after the show. So give me about 15, 20 minutes because I'm going to put them all in one bing and hit you with it. And for the future, I'm going to put it on Lancescurv.com so you can get that packet just immediately at the click of a button. And I have another friend of mine who lives out in Pakistan, and he's going to be helping me with some technical things on some new social media platforms that I'm working on. But to automate everything so I don't have to do as much work, because for every little 1 hour show I do, it's not just a matter of getting on and getting off. There's about 8 hours worth of work to do around it and the stuff that I'm researching to bring things higher, because I'll say it here and I won't really reveal it, but I have other platforms that I'm building and other things that I'm interested in. And I'll share that once it's up and running. And yeah, I'm working overtime right now. But there's one point I wanted to make. When I was speaking about the bodybuilding podcast that I was listening to, and the guy who said he couldn't afford to really go away from his work for 3 weeks on a vacation. So for me, and I say this to you, think of the ultimate life that you want to live. I couldn't, if you gave me $10 million and say, hey, yeah, I'd take it, but go back to the conditions that were stressing you out. No, I can't. I'd want to take that money, right? Maybe I'll do it and trick the person, be there for 6 weeks later. Let's go up. Let's go back and bounce, right? I'm gonna do something. But the man said that. And so I said to myself, and I've said this before he even said that, before I heard it many years ago, I'd say maybe 25, 30 years ago, when I began to start thinking about leaving the country, because I've been talking this stuff for a long time. This is not just some old faddish, the year of the return, 2019. No, I've been thinking about this. When we went down to Jamaica to see Mrs. Scurv's land she has up on the mountains, but we changed our mind. It's still there. It's still an option. But we chose here. So when he said he couldn't leave his work to go on vacation, and that's truly not a vacation. I say, like I've always said, why not go and live somewhere where it feels like a vacation? Because for me, I'm on vacation. And I'm here. I'm not paying nobody for no vacation. I'm here. I wake up and I'm in a place I want to be, and I can still do my work in a vacation, not in a hostile living environment. And I got to check this list again. I'm not telling everybody they have to leave America, right? But America is not, from what I hear, is not even in the top 20 places to live. The top 20 best places to live. You can even make the list longer than that. And America does not even merit being on there. When you look at the different categories that will say, okay, quality of life this way, they have different categories, how they rate things. And you rating something may be different. Your list might be different. When I used to drive that bus in Orlando and go down International Drive, driving the 8 route, I did that too. I used to have my cards and I'd pass it out to many people that had an interesting conversation. See, because I used that job to elevate what I was doing, because I've always been a people person. And I asked them, how did they like it? They said, well, we see the prices here are cheaper. I said, wow, some people living here think it's expensive. They said, no, we have a store in Brazil, we have a store in Venezuela, and we're going to buy up all of this stuff and we're going to sell it there. But really and truly, we don't want to live here. This place is a madhouse. I was like, wow. So that struck at my ignorance. Yes, my ignorance, who have never at that point may have traveled other places. It's like there are people who think that this place is the worst or not as good as where they come from. And as I got older, I began to understand. And as I got older, I'm like, listen, I'm ready to get the heck on up out of here. We got the internet now. I could do, look, I'm talking to y'all. I'm in Africa right now. Y'all can call me. I can do shows. You can see me. And maybe this week I'll start showing my face. But I've been too busy to set up the extra particulars. We'll start that too. But what I experience when I wake up in the morning, I might get up before I'm really up. I might, like the other morning I did, I got up to take a leak, and it was daybreak. I had my t-shirt on, my shorts on, my little Crocs on. I said, Mrs. Scurv, I'm just going to take a walk down the road. I took a nice slow walk down the road as the sun came up. All I had my keys. They want to wake her up to make her open the door for me. I had my wallet, little tiny wallet. I got one of those little wallets where it's just the two little things in between, not the big fat leather, no. And I didn't even take my camera. Now, you know that's not me. I just wanted to enjoy this. I found myself down into town, which town from where I live is not something that is known as the most modern, but it's organic. People are selling things. People are talking to each other. And it felt good. And I took my time and walked back. They were squeezing some fresh juice. And there's another woman who's selling all types of organic things, really good things. I want to do a little interview with her and share. And it's not something elaborate. It's 2 or 3 shelves with some things that you can add in that you just wouldn't expect. It's like, this is beautiful. I got home and crashed and got the rest of my sleep. But I woke up feeling so heavenly, because sometimes I know what I have to do on the computer and on the social media platforms and on my website. But other than that, it is what it is. I do what I want to do. And that's just where I want to be in life right now. I don't need the pressure. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody that I can get a better car than them or a bigger house than them. I don't care about those things. I don't care about impressing somebody with an outfit or jewelry that I have. I got rid of a lot of stuff. I got rid of 85% of my clothes before I left America. It's, for me, shorts, t-shirts, whatever. I got things to wear now when I come back if I visit. But even when I visit, I'm going to visit the people that I love. But I'm not there for anything else. So we have to understand again that nature is under attack. All things natural. There's an entity, I will say it that way, that is jealous of the promise that our Creator has given us for a natural life and wants to destroy it. These big pharma, political, corporate entities, they want to take this free thing from us. They want to take my ability to get up in the morning time and walk down the side of a road peaceful and pick fruits on the side of the road that are free, that are not touched by demonic hands. They don't want a natural life. They want to control everything, and they want to take the joy and the peace that you have when you live this natural life. But we sometimes think we're living a natural life, and we're not doing so. I've never saw a deer in the wild, so-called, which is not wild, right? Have a nervous breakdown. I always say that. Deer run around to, oh, I need I need mental health help. I can't take it no more. No. The birds fly free. All the animals, even those that have big teeth and are dangerous to some other animals on the food chain, they're all pretty much living peaceful. But us, who are supposed to be on the highest point of the totem pole of all living things, we're the ones killing each other, jealous of each other, competing with each other, gossiping on each other. We're not even living the way we're supposed to live. In the food we eat, in the toxic chemicals that we take, all of that stuff is the reason why we can't live the way we're supposed to live. But we think we're getting deals, but it's fake. You look at a beautiful woman, you got to wonder, is this really a woman? You look at a piece of fruit, you got to say to yourself, is this really a piece of fruit? Is this something I can consume? It's a sad world we're living in, and it's just frightening to me where things are going. And many of us don't even know the proper way to go. That's what's even scarier, that we think that we're doing the right thing by our bodies, but we're not. Anyway, I got to go right now. I hate to go. I'll be back. I'm always here. I don't know to set a time in the morning when I come on, but it'll be the morning. I don't want to set that time and things pop up, but we'll do this every single day. And I'll come with something that's entertaining and got some facts in it, and we'll rant every single day to wake our people up, for those who want to listen. And I listen to you all too, the suggestions and things, because you teach me so much and share links with me that let me know of things I have to talk about. So it's a mutual thing, and I love you all for it. Thank you so much. I will talk to you later on, and always more surprises. Lancescurv out.
Africa.
Peace.
From China, he took silk and gunpowder. From India, he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast, he took barrels of oil untold, raping, robbing, and murdering everything in his path. The whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So, my friend, it's not hard to tell. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. America, we were living in the east. By the Nile River, we were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes and slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is black man hell. When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I'll treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and fire water. Tricks and lies, he stole America. The original owner of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man, so he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the world's most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery, to sell a man as merchandise, on his body put a price. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is a black man hell.